I never thought one stupid night could destroy everything I had. But looking back, I guess the cracks were already there long before it happened. I'd been with my boyfriend for almost 4 years. We weren't perfect, but we were comfortable. Maybe too comfortable. The kind where you stop noticing each other, where arguments get swept under the rug, and where you convince yourself that it's just a phase, even when it feels like you're slowly drifting apart. His mom was having her birthday party, a big family thing. I remember walking into the house and instantly feeling eyes on me. Not from my boyfriend, but from her boyfriend, the man who was supposed to become his stepfather. He was 53, but you wouldn't think it for a second. Athletic, clean-cut, sharp jawline, the kind of confidence that comes with age. He carried himself like nothing in the room could intimidate him. And every time I caught him glancing at me, I pretended not to notice, but I did. I absolutely did. My boyfriend got drunk fast. Like embarrassingly fast. He could barely stand, and by midnight he was passed out on the couch while everyone laughed it off. And then his mom's boyfriend, that man, offered to drive me home. At first, it felt innocent, just a polite gesture. But the second the door closed and we were alone in that car, the air felt different, heavy, charged. I could feel him looking over at me at each red light, and my heart kept doing this stupid flutter I didn't want to acknowledge. And maybe this is where everything went wrong, because instead of shutting those thoughts down, I let them sit there. When we pulled up to my place, there was this silence, the kind that traps you. I should have said goodnight. I should have gone inside alone. But I heard myself asking if he wanted to come in. It was like the moment the words left my mouth, I knew exactly what was going to happen next. And it did. But that wasn't the end of the story. Because what came after, that was so much worse. I didn't know it yet, but the fallout of that night was about to turn my entire life upside down. The morning after, everything felt wrong before I even opened my eyes. The room was quiet, too quiet, and for a second I didn't remember why. Then I turned over and saw his stepfather's shirt on the floor. My stomach dropped so hard I thought I was going to be sick. He was already gone. No note, no message, nothing. Just silence. And the silence made it so much worse, like what we did was something he didn't even want to acknowledge. I sat there on the edge of my bed, replaying the night in my head, feeling guilt crawl over my skin. I kept telling myself it was a mistake, but the truth was I didn't stop it. I invited it. I chose it. A little later, I got a text from my boyfriend. "Hey babe, I just woke up. My head is killing me. You get home okay?" I stared at that message for a long time. He had no clue. None. And the worst part? I couldn't bring myself to tell him. I typed a reply like nothing happened, like I was the same person I was yesterday. But I wasn't. For the next few days, things only got stranger. His mom kept talking about how her boyfriend was distracted and acting distant, and every time she said it, I had to pretend I didn't know exactly why. Then I saw him again, at her house, in their kitchen. The second our eyes met, I felt my heart slam against my chest. He didn't smile. He didn't nod. He just gave me this unreadable look, like he was waiting for me to break. Later, when my boyfriend stepped outside to take a call, his stepfather cornered me in the hallway. Not aggressively, just close enough that I couldn't escape. "We need to talk," he said quietly. My pulse jumped. About what? You know exactly what. I wanted to shrink into the floor. It was a mistake. His jaw tightened, like he didn't like hearing that. "Maybe for you." My breath caught. "Don't do this. We can't." He leaned in just slightly, voice low. "Relax. I'm not going to ruin anything. But don't pretend you didn't want it." I hated how my body reacted, how my face burned, how my chest tightened with something that wasn't entirely fear. And that scared me more than the guilt. I pushed past him and walked outside, trying to steady my breathing. My boyfriend noticed immediately. "You okay?" he asked. I forced a smile. "Yeah, just tired." But I wasn't fine. Everything in me was unraveling. And the more I tried to hide it, the heavier it got. Sometimes I still wonder if I should have confessed right then, before everything spiraled even further. Because the thing that happened next, that was the moment I realized this wasn't just a one-time mistake. This was becoming a problem I couldn't control. And I had no idea the worst part was still coming. After that day, something shifted, something subtle but dangerous. I kept telling myself it was over, that I would never let it happen again. But every time I was near him, I felt this pull, this tension that made it impossible to breathe normally. And the universe seemed determined to keep putting us in the same room. A week later, my boyfriend invited me to come over for dinner with his family. I wanted to say no so badly, but saying no would have looked suspicious. So I went. And the moment his mom's boyfriend opened the door, my chest tightened again. He didn't touch me. He didn't flirt. He didn't even look at me for the first hour. But that almost made it worse, because the silence felt intentional, like he was waiting to see what I would do. Halfway through dinner, my boyfriend got another headache and went to lie down. His mom started cleaning the table, humming to herself in the kitchen. And suddenly, it was just the two of us again. I tried to escape to the living room, but he followed me, quiet, casual, like it was nothing. "You've been avoiding me," he said under his breath. I kept my eyes on my phone. "Because we can't do this. It was a mistake. You keep calling it that," he murmured, stepping closer. "But you haven't told him, have you?" My throat tightened. "No, and you're not going to either." He gave the faintest smirk, the kind that made me feel exposed. "Relax. I told you. I'm not trying to ruin your life." "But you are," I whispered. "Just by being here." For a second, he actually softened. "Look, I'm not proud of what happened, but I'm not pretending I didn't enjoy it." My heart dropped into my stomach. "And I know you did too." I stood up so fast my chair scraped the floor. "I'm going to check on him." But when I turned, he stepped aside just enough to let me pass, his shoulder brushing mine, slow and intentional. The touch shot straight through me, and I hated how my body reacted. I hated that I wasn't immune to him. I checked on my boyfriend. He was asleep, breathing softly, completely unaware of the chaos happening behind his back. Guilt twisted so hard in my chest, I had to sit down. I stared at him for a long moment, wondering how I got here, how I ever let this door open. Maybe I really was too blind to see how far I'd fallen. Maybe this whole time, I'd been pretending I had control when I clearly didn't. Later that night, when I finally left their house, he stood by the front door, watching me walk to my car. No words, no would-be, just that same unreadable stare that followed me long after I drove away. And I thought that would be the end of it, the staring, the tension, the guilt. But the very next day, something happened that tore everything. The next day started out painfully normal. Coffee, laundry, scrolling through my phone, trying to forget the night before. I was trying to convince myself that distance would make this whole thing fade away. But around noon, my phone buzzed. A message from him. Just one sentence. "We need to talk. Now." My stomach flipped. I ignored it. I told myself he was being dramatic, that he'd get over whatever he wanted to say. Then another message. "Your boyfriend is coming here in an hour. You should too." My heart stopped. I threw on clothes and drove faster than I should have, every what if screaming in my head. When I pulled up to the house, he was already outside waiting, hands in his pockets, tension written all over his face. I barely shut my car door before he spoke. "We have a problem." I felt ice crawl on my spine. "What happened?" He hesitated, just for a moment, before handing me his phone. She saw something she wasn't supposed to. On his screen was a message thread. Our message thread, not the explicit stuff, but enough. A missed call from me. "Are you close?" text. A heart emoji he apparently forgot to delete from days ago. Just little things, but enough to make someone suspicious. My mouth went dry. "Does she know?" "No," he said, but she's confused, asking questions, wondering why we talk at all. I could feel the walls closing in. "So what are we supposed to do?" "I'll take care of it," he said, "but we need to make sure we don't slip again." No messages, no looks, nothing. I nodded, even though something about the seriousness in his voice made my chest ache in a way I didn't expect. Then he stepped slightly closer, lowering his voice. "And we can't let this happen again. Do you understand?" My breath shook, but I nodded again. He exhaled like he was relieved, and maybe I was too. Minutes later, my boyfriend showed up, totally clueless. He walked right past us, kissed my cheek, smiled like everything in the world was normal. It broke something in me, and that was the moment I knew the truth I'd been avoiding. I couldn't live like this. That night, I told him I needed space. I didn't give details, I couldn't, but I ended things quietly, carefully. without blowing up his family or exposing the mess I helped create. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, and sometimes I still wonder if I handled it the right way. But I couldn't stay. Not after what I'd done. Not with that secret sitting like a weight in my chest. Ending the relationship was the only thing that felt honest at the end of a chain of bad decisions. And walking away from both of them, him and his stepfather, was the only way I could stop the spiral. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even think I deserve it. But I learned something deeply, painfully important. Once you cross a line like that, you don't get to pretend you're the same person anymore. You either face it or you let it destroy everything in your life. I chose to face it. Anyways, guys, that's the end of this story. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to Reddit Cheating Stories for more videos just like this. I'll catch you in the next one.